Namaste.
Namaste. Good morning.
Good morning. Here it's good evening.
Oh, sorry.
Hello, Fred. How are
Good
you?
morning, good evening, good afternoon.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, let's do a short silent sitting. That's always good to start for anything. That's what we are. So let's sit in our own pure silence together. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you. I want to tell you something about the self. So, self, which we all have and which we all are, how is it different from the ego self or the smaller self, you can say, or the one who is extrovert self? How is it different? And very easy, and everyone can understand in their own beingness. When you start living from this pure self, this self has no intention. But then someone will think, how can you function and work in this world if there is no intention coming from the ego? This is the beauty. There's always some task, some situation which arises, and the body acts what is appropriate in that situation without planning, without unnecessary and extensive planning, which is the work of ego. Ego plans and then thinks some way and then other, and it gets confused sometimes. And sometimes it plans good and things happens. Sometimes it has to change plans. There's no problem with thoughts, planning, changing. But the thing is that the one who takes ownership of all this exercise is the one who is suffering because he has anxiety, he has restlessness, he is agitated. Some people are more cooler than others, some are less. But to an extent, everyone has some investment in that doing because they all think they are doers. Then how a person in self will act? He will exactly do the same. He will also be acting in that situation in the most appropriate way. But there is no intention coming from any person. Something is happening and he is witnessing to that happening. So, in the same body, with the same situation, there is a big difference of doership, difference in the suffering is not a very good word to say, I should say, because it's not always that people with ego are suffering, but there is this identity with everything they do, and they think this identity is at stake. And to preserve that identity, they do things in a way to please others or to please their own identity. Let's say when that identity is dissolved in this pure seeing, then you have no intention, which means that there is no intention to please this body mind or any other body mind. So you are in a very restful state. That is the only difference, nothing else. There might be family, there might be a job, there might be a bodily suffering in form of a disease, or there might be a situation changing, maybe not the best situation around you, but there is this restful state all the time without any change. And there is no selfishness in any action left. Some people's ego is very altruistic. They always look for helping others. And in that sense, that ego feels satisfied, which to the external world looks so beautiful. But if they stop helping others, then they have this agitation, because now that is their habit. Let's say I have a friend, he loves to do a cycling every day for 20 miles or 30 miles. The day he doesn't do, he feels very restless. So it is like dependence even for an exercise or even altruistic work. Self is the state in where you are completely free. Like it is not particular job, work, action, which is bringing peace to the home. You are peace. You are not deriving pleasure or happiness in acts or in situations or in beings or in objects. This is the difference. Remember, all acts done through the body-mind complex as ego is to attain that happiness. And if you have no intention to derive any pleasure from anything for any reason, then thousands of activities will drop down and millions of thoughts which comes to sustain that activity will disappear. What meditation do you need to get rid of thoughts? Simple understanding can dissolve everything. Simple understanding. If you keep this ego alive and keep meditating all your life, probably you might increase that ego rather than finishing it off. Right understanding, right attitude is more important than any type of practice. And if you know this, then you are already free, because you are not going out to prove anything to this body mind or any other body mind for anything. All our exercise in this world are to gain some peace, some happiness, some pleasure. The moment you stop this external efforts to gain any type of happiness or pleasure from external means, not because you don't want happiness, because now you know that you're already happy, you're already in peace, you are that supreme peace, that bliss. You are already contented. And this is that supreme knowledge. And this knowledge is not a book knowledge that you will read in a book and you will repeat like a parrot. This comes from you within. And you don't have to confirm this knowledge through any scriptures or through any sayings or a teacher. That within all of us is the same self without any difference. The teacher is sitting within us as us. Once you open your own book in your heart, that's all. Then no more reading, no more scriptures, no more. We can still do that because that's also a joy in a way which confirms your own seeing, or a satsang or an association with beautiful people who are open or who are opening or who are there. It's so beautiful to meet them, even to see them, even to just be, because it's pure energy. It has no addition of any coating of anything. Like sometimes there's a bitter pill coated with sugar outside, so it looks attractive, you have it, and then you know what was the truth. So a covered truth is useless. It will never bring freedom to you. A naked truth is what we all are. And for that naked truth, there is no other way except to move back and just be. Not this or that or becoming. We don't have to acquire any new knowledge, and we don't have to practice any new method. I had a very nice message from someone who looked in one of those satsang videos. And he has mentioned that one fine morning he woke up and his whole identity was lost. So he said all his life he was acquiring, creating that identity with a lot of efforts. And one fine morning he woke up and there was no reference point. This is real awakening. When we don't know who we are as a person, as a name, as a form, and understand name and form is of the body. All relationships are of the body. All actions And all what we think what we are is only body. All this has started with body and will finish when the body ends. Which relationship will continue, tell me, when the body turns into dust? Or what work continues? Only thing which continues is you, that pure awareness. Death doesn't bring end to you. But death also doesn't get you out of this trap. Your own understanding and your contemplation on this pure knowledge ends this play forever while you are still in this body. If you leave this body with understanding that you are this body, then play continues. Because no one in this world who thinks he is this body can be empty of desires. It's not possible. Only witness can be empty. Because witness is that awareness, that perceiver. Which only appears to be using this body. But it is the other way around. Body is using that for its sustenance. And body is programmed to death. So the body which is programmed to death finishes off. And the awareness stays as it is. Let's say we all are forms of different bodies, and we all are talking through those bodies. It is not different from energy, electricity flowing in a wire, and then there are different bulbs hanging, and they're bright and glowing. And let's say these bulbs can also talk and do some things. And on the bulbs it says how many hours the tungsten wire can stay, and then it fuses. But a fused bulb doesn't mean that energy is gone, that energy is still flowing through those wires. But you can't appreciate that. So the bulb is fused, but the energy is the same, still flowing incessantly, eternally. While you are that energy flowing through that bulb, thinks, I am that bulb, then definitely there's death of that bulb one day, which is your own illusion. because there is no other way to interact in this world except through the body. And this is what you think. If you can't interact, then you are gone. This is just your perception. So nobody wants to die, and everyone wants to keep that body. How old that body is, whatever the suffering. If suffering is too much in the body, then people also want to leave that body. They think it's better to die now. But both are false. In your deep sleep, you are not at all aware of the body, but you sleep in that bliss of not knowing anything. And every night you go to that death of body and you love it because there is so much of peace, so much of bliss. And you know why? Because at that moment there is no identity. No identity. Whole world is running to get identity, to get identified. We use degree after our name, prefix, suffix, so many things to be recognized. This is the root cause of suffering. You are this formless, nameless, soundless, actionless, relationless, infinite bliss, peace, pure awareness. This awareness doesn't know any sleep, any dream. It is more awakened than our awakened state. This awareness is in total acceptance of whatever is happening. Though the happenings might not look right, but awareness knows nothing touches that pure self. What we think as decay, transformation, death, it knows it is nothing there. It is all coming from the same source. Everything coming from nothingness and going to nothingness. But nothingness stays as nothingness. No change in it. And that nothingness, because it is not something palpable to the mind, to the body, it doesn't mean that it does not exist. Just like radio waves, you don't see them, but when you tune to those frequencies, you can hear the voice, you can see the images. When you drop your mind and I drop my mind, we both are in the same awareness. Remember, self is one, minds are many. Myself and yourself is not different. Consciousness is a singular word. There are not many consciousnesses. Consciousness is just one. And nobody can claim self as mine. Self is impersonal, it is eternal. You are that pure self. You are never an individual. Even when you believe you are a hardcore person with a strong identity, with a strong personality, with a huge ego, it is nothing but a bigger illusion, that's all. One day the bubble has to burst, but when, who knows? All identities have to come back home one day. But that one day can be different. It can be millions of years away for someone whom we are passing now. And there can be one who is awakened right now. You might be brushing someone who is timeless, or you might be meeting someone who would stay in the bondage of time for millions of years. Who decides who will be free, who will not, on when and how? Because we don't know, we say everything is grace, kripa, compassion. So anyone who understands this has only one word to say: thank you. Thank you to whom? Thank you to self. That self is shown itself. How self shows you, how self shows you by finishing you as what you think you are. Like the man who wrote that one fine morning he woke up and no identity was left. Take this plunge, dive deep into the pure self. And truth is, you leave this small egoistic identity and you become infinite awareness. Then you don't dwell in one body, you dwell everywhere. Then who is other? And whom are you helping, even if you are helping? You are helping yourself only, maybe in some other form. When you have no identity, then you don't accept anyone else's identity. It is all pure self. There is no you, no me. This is real awakening. And it is not a small happening in that body. It's like you are newly born, fresh, eternal birth. You're out of the shackles of mind and the aging body. And you truly identify as that pure, undifferentiated awareness, which is not dependent on anything for any reason, at any time. Don't underestimate your power. Don't make yourself small by identifying with a small form. You are not born to suffer. You are born to self realize. This is self realization. Conserve all your energy. Bring all your energy to your heart and merge all what you think, what you were, into your heart, pure self. When you dissolve, no doubts are left, no questions, because no doubter is left. Doubter is gone. Understand till there is a doubter who is practicing, who is doing, you are only delaying your freedom. You're only prolonging the dream. Answers are not in books. You are the answer to all your search. Have satsang with your own self all the time. Your mind will say it is boredom. Yes, it is not boredom, it is death to the mind. When you enjoy your own bliss, and you have taken away employment from your mind. Mind is nothing but that energy which goes outwardly in search of happiness. When happiness is here, death of the mind is inevitable. What tasks you will give to mind now? Daily mundane activities just go on autopilot all the time. And do you want to know other people? Who are other? You know everyone more than they know about themselves when you know yourself. They might be an illusion, but you know that they are that pure self as you. They are you. Then how can you hate someone just because they are criticizing this body? What do you think about someone who is drunk, madman? Do you fight with them? If you're a doctor, you will have compassion because you know they are suffering from a disease. If you are open And if you can absorb these pointers in your heart, you don't have to do anything. You are already free. For bondage, we have to do so many things. We have to work very hard to create an identity. But to dissolve that fake identity, just keep quiet. Once you come to this knowledge, nothing else needs to be done. Just be. Thank you, everyone, and we will meet again. Thank you. Thank you.